Muslim Viewpoint, a video podcast powered by the national non-profit media platform American Muslim Today, and I'm your host, Rifat Malik. Well, we're talking about Syria today, its new leadership, the controversial history of Western involvement, and what does the future hold for its people. No one can question the global shock over the weekend as the world witnessed the unexpected and rapid toppling of Bashar al-Assad, who had clung to power for 14 years through brutal suppression of any opposition. His erstwhile allies, the Russians, have confirmed that he fled Damascus and is now safe in exile in Moscow. How were the rebels able to gain such power at such breakneck speed? It seems the distraction of countries backing Assad, such as Russia with Ukraine, Iran and Hezbollah in turmoil after Israeli attacks, had created a perfect storm that left the dictator vulnerable. A coalition of rebels now stands in his place, promising change and hope for a country that has seen years of civil war and suffering. But what role has the West played in all this, and can these new leaders succeed where the world has failed Syria? Leading the charge is Abu Mohammed al-Golani, the head of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, who has undergone a remarkable transformation himself. Once tied to al-Qaeda, al-Golani has distanced himself from his extremist roots, rebranding himself as a proponent of pluralism and tolerance. His Salvation government has dissolved the religious police and even reopened churches for the first time in years. Al-Golani speaks of Islamic law not as a tool of oppression, but as a choice for the people, a vision of governance unlike anything Syria has seen in decades. Can this coalition succeed in uniting a fractured nation? The promise is there, but so are the challenges. The West, particularly the US, has long championed the idea of regime change in the Middle East. But what happens after the regime falls? Take the infamous Red Line moment during the Obama administration, when Assad used chemical weapons in 2013, killing over 1,400 civilians. The world was outraged. President Obama had warned that such an act would cross a line. But when it happened, the response was muted. Instead of decisive action, the US brokered a deal to dismantle Assad's chemical arsenal, a deal that didn't stop further atrocities and allowed him to stay in power. This inaction sent a clear message. The West might talk about justice, but it's hesitant to act when the stakes are high. And then there's the broader question. What does the West actually accomplish with regime change? Afghanistan offers a sobering lesson. After toppling the Taliban in 2001, the US embarked on a nation-building mission, hoping to create a stable government. But what followed was years of chaos. The US underestimated the complexities of Afghan politics, over-relied on military solutions, and ultimately left behind a fragile state, which allowed the Taliban back into power. The lesson: regime change is only half the battle. Without a clear, sustainable plan for nation building, the cycle of violence and instability continues. Syria's new leaders inherit a country shattered by war, with deep divisions among ethnic and religious groups, as well as regional powers jockeying for influence. Yet there's a glimmer of hope. The fall of Assad marks an end to decades of tyranny and opens the door to a new chapter. But for Syria to truly rebuild, it will need more than promises. It will need a concerted effort from its leaders and support from the international community, not in the form of intervention, but in fostering unity and healing. Thank you so much for tuning into the Muslim Viewpoint. If you appreciate our public service journalism, please consider supporting our non-profit registered 501c3 by following us on social media at American Muslim Today, or donating by visiting our website at americanmuslimtoday.com. And before you go, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks.